Right, it's late Friday afternoon. I've had enough, but before I go home, just a quick recap. We have got the driver's rear brake pipe, the union stuck to the pipe, so I might have to put a new brake pipe on it. Also, I'm waiting for rear braided brake hoses because the first ones Dan gave us were wrong, so he's organising some new ones. I've got a seized up handbrake cable which I'm going to get off now, and also to do that I'm going to have to drop this exhaust down, which looks a bit of a bitch, getting them off the rubber mounts. It's behind this bumper, but anyway, I'm going to drop the exhaust down. You've got to get the tin shields off underneath like the centre console area to get to the handbrake. So I'm going to do that now, and I might, if I get time, drop the subframe off today so it's ready to knock out the bushes, ready for the new polyurethane bushes next week. I've dropped the exhaust down, and I'm telling you right, this flipping mounts up in this bumper, they weren't the easiest of things to get out. Mind you, they weren't the worst either, but they've come off, and I've actually dropped the whole exhaust down and I've got it suspended on these blocks. I'm going to leave this exhaust down, the reason being is that to get this handbrake cable off, this tin shield needs to come out, and that's held on by a whole load of like little 10mm nuts. So with all the little 10mm nuts off, you've got to be careful, they get sort of quite rotten. Well, we can pull this tin shield off. I'm just going to let it sit down on top of the exhaust. I ain't got to actually take it right out because now I can see our adjuster. We've got a manual I think that's a 16mm nut. If I loosen this off, which I will do, then I'm going to remove this handbrake cable. But first up, I'm going to get this cable out of this bracket here. The cables get quite stuck in that bracket, so I'm just going to whack it out. There. Where the cable goes through this trailing arm, there's like a little clip there. You just pop the clip out like that, and then that's it, we're out. I will point out here, these white clips get very brittle over time, and there's chances are they're going to snap. So you have to be very careful trying to get it out. Oh, that was lucky. Right, with a deep 16mm socket, wobbly bar, a long one at that. I'm now going to loosen this so we can set it all up properly when we get the new cable on. I should be able to pull that cable straight out. There, bingo. The little plastic clip that holds this cable in here, it's like, that's how to get it out, rip it out. Tell you what, it feels crunchy. Anyway, bye-bye. In order to get this subframe off, I'm going to go down the route of removing the anti-roll bar drop links from the shock absorbers. First up is to try and get rid of all the rust on the threads, because I reckon these could be a problem coming off. Yeah, come on. And then a little bit of freeing oil just to help it along. Oh well, here goes. I'll hold the collar behind with a pair of mole grips. Let's see if it comes off. Wow! It flipping did as well. It must be my lucky day. Well, that's good news. Flipping heck. I'm going to get this subframe off now. I'm not really going to go too much into showing how it come off because I've done this before on another car in the shed outside. And if you want to see how the subframe comes off these cars, it's not that interesting, but you can watch it here. Right, anyway, let me get on. There's like two swinging arms either side of the subframe. The 15mm bolts that got to come out. So I'm going to have a go at getting this one out. There. Another 18mm bolt holding this trailing arm on. So, see if it undoes. That's off. I'm just going to get a stand under here to support it. Because all I've got is 4 15mm bolts and the frame's off. So this is it. Hey! It nearly fell over. That's how you get a subframe out. Yeah! Frickin' winner! Right, flipping jacket. It's been on and off more times than I can count today. Anyway, just before I call it a day, one last thing. These 10mm bolts that hold this anti-roll bar onto the frame, these tend to seize up badly. I've had so many of these in the past that can snap off. But because it's late Friday afternoon, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to spin this subframe the right way round. And using my trusty old workshop oil, it does say, loosens seized parts. So I hope it bloody works. It's the same as WD-40, I guess. I'm going to spray the oil in there, which I can get on top of the actual threads. So I'll leave a load of oil in there, and that can penetrate over the weekend. And hopefully by Monday, that'll flipping be freed off, and I'll have no dramas. Today, I'm gonna rule the world! Good morning, minion.
What is going on, Alan?
Money, somehow, I don't think you'll believe me.
Well, good luck with that then.
Oh well, back to reality. It's Monday morning and I really ain't with it. Anyway, listen, I've had a delivery. One handbrake cable. What I'm going to do this morning, this flipping subframe, I'm going to push these bushes out. And I'll tell you what, gee, they're not in good shape, are they? I'm hoping that these middle bits will push out. As I've discovered, the actual outer shell of these bushes must remain inside this frame. We push the middle bit out, clean them up in the middle, and we push our new poly bushes into the outer shell of the old bush, if you know what I mean. Anyway, there is a special tool to take these out, which I don't have. So I'm not going to buy it either. We've got a press here, so I'm going to use this old bearing race, which will go on a subframe like that. Then I'll press the bush from the other side inside the bearing. So we'll see how we go. Hopefully they'll push out quite easily. First up, I'm going to remove the anti-roll bar because I sprayed the bolts, the threads of the bolts, with freon oil. Hopefully they'll come out without breaking them, because if they break and they seize up in these, that's why I sprayed them at the weekend last Friday. So hopefully they'll come out and I'll have no dramas. Anyway, let's see how we go. I'm using a 1/2 inch bar because you can get more like torque, I guess, through the bar without the bar twisting. Yeah. Oh, it's moved. Oh my God. Woohoo! It's coming out. I am freaking amazed. Actually, in all honesty, I'm not amazed. I have a lot of faith in freon oil, especially if you actually got the time to put it on a thread and leave it. And as it's had all weekend to soak in, it's done the job. Excellent. Oh, yes. Now, that anti-roll bar bracket should just kind of lift up and pull out there. Right then, let's stick this puppy in the press and get the goddamn bushes out. So this is it, 30-ton press. God damn it. Anyway, with any luck, the press should push the socket onto the bush, which should push the inner part of this bush into this like old bloody wheel race here. Right then. I tell you what, the bush, it's going in, it's squashing. Woohoo! That's about as far as it wants to go. I'll tell you what, it's come out a fair way. I reckon with a few clouts of a hammer, we might be lucky. There we go. Woo! Yeah, look at that bush. That is that's actually quite rusty. Look at that. There's even bits missing off it. Bloody hell. Nice. And it's crispy as well. 4 twatted subframe bushes sitting on the tea trolley. Oh dear, things aren't going according to plan. The outer skin of these bushes, these metal sleeves, they've actually corroded away completely, where they're just big holes now. Like this one's like 180 degrees around the circumference that's actually rotted away, and the same with the other one that side. I think we're going to either have to put new bushes in, just standard ones, unless somebody sells just these outer skins, then I can just replace these. So I've messaged Dan, and we're going to try and find a workaround for this. Either A, you can actually buy them outer shells separate to the bushes, which would be nice, because there ain't no way we can put the poly bushes in these, or we just put standard bushes in the subframe. Well, I suppose I can fit the handbrake cable. Just one thing to note here, with the new cable, offer it up against the old cable and check it all the way along just to make sure it's the right part, because we wouldn't want to fit this new cable and find it's a foot short, would we? Right, so we'll pop this cable in there and that'll clip in. There. You would fit this cable into the actual cable that goes onto the handbrake lever first, and we'll put the cable onto the caliper later. So that will go in there, like so. And once we've set all our caliper up, then we'll adjust the actual handbrake cable last. I have to carefully pop this back into its clips. There. Where that little bush goes in the bracket, you might need a pair of pliers or something just to squash that in. And then your little clip on your trailing arm, we can just pop that in there and clip it over. done. I decided rather than ponce around with that old brake pipe and try and free that union off, I'll just put a new pipe on it. It's actually not too much trouble to change it. Excellent. I'll bang this on the car now. Well, that's the brake pipe in place. Guess what? My calipers arrived. Lovely. So we can put this back together this afternoon. Look at that, all nice and shiny. The actual brake pads, I'm only going to put a bit of gold grease just on the little tabs of the pads that actually sit in the caliper carrier. I don't ever put the gold grease on the back of the pad, but just here where they're actually going to move in the caliper, just in case. So that should slot in there. Pop! Here's how I go about fitting one of these calipers, especially when they're brand new. You'll see the piston, when they come new, is actually retracted fully inside the caliper. If I slide the caliper onto the carrier with the pads fitted and hold the caliper fully pushed this way, you'll see between the caliper and the brake pads there's a gap. There must be like 3 or 4 millimetre gap there. So this will actually rattle about like that. I'm going to wind this piston half a turn clockwise. I think on the driver's side of these Mark III Mondeos, you have to wind them like clockwise to make them expand, to make the piston come out. So if I turn that, see how we go. See, that piston's coming out now. There. See that? We've taken it out a bit. Now I should be able to put this back on. And do you know what? It slots on almost perfectly. Look at that. And there's hardly, there's about, I don't know, 0.5 millimetre play there now. There. That's all bolted down properly now. That's how I set calipers up on these cars. I'm telling you, that will give you a much better handbrake. The handbrake, well, the lever won't come up as far, and it'll also work a lot better. I'm not going to put the handbrake on until I've actually bled the brake, but I can't do that at the minute because I'm still waiting for the brake hoses. So that cable goes through that caliper bracket like that. I'm not going to put it actually onto the handbrake lever at the minute until, like I say, we've bled all the brakes up properly. But once that's in, this like horseshoe clip, that'll just slot on there like that. That'll secure it. That's it. I can fix this plastic panel up again now that fits over the trailing arm area. But the actual heat shield for the exhaust I'm going to leave off until I've actually got the handbrake adjusted up. Okay, right. Next up, I'm going to tackle the flipping subframe and do something with these bloody bush shells. I don't know. Let's have a look. Well, 2 of these bushes are actually, there's no holes in them, which is something. They're a bit crispy with the old rust. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to run around them with a drill bit, and then I'll try and put like a little wire wheel in there and just clean them up a bit better. But I reckon if I just this could take some time. I'll tell you what, I'll come back when I'm done. Anyway, in the meantime, let's go for a walk around, see what's going on. Right, Matt, what have you got on?
Service, 4 MOT.
Yep, boring.
Yeah, very boring. Exciting.
Oh, look what we got in here. You know, walking into this MOT bay, I expected music and bright lights from heaven, but what did I get? you. You got nothing to say for yourself, Charlie? Holy crap, you're on video, man.
I ain't worried.
Please at least acknowledge me.
I just did.
I'll tell you what, the only time to see you smile is Christmas time when you've got your Santa outfit on. See what I've got to put up with? See the taxi drivers? They don't even bloody well talk to me. Charlie? Cool, I'm quite impressed. This side's come out quite nicely. So all I've got to do now is actually find two of these sleeves from somewhere. So in conclusion, I've done two of the bushes now. Well, I've got two sleeves which are good. The actual drill bit, that took care of the pieces of rubber that was still stuck in there. Because that rubber was stuck, it was a bit tough, but that soon got it out. And then this, that little wire wheel, flipping heck, that polished it up quite nicely. I'm impressed. So, yeah. I think what I'll do now is, the other two sleeves, I ain't going to use them because they're knackered. So I'm going to bash them out. Right then. Right, I put this bloody frame on the floor. I could just put it in the press and press this bush casing out, but I want to have a bit of fun. I'm feeling violent today, so I'm going to smash it out of a hammer. So I'm going to put a socket there, and I'll hold that socket with some Stilton so it don't fly off. Yeah! You ready? Yeah! Actually, I probably might do some damage using this. I think I'll give that one a miss. I've got a smaller mallet. Yeah! Okay, enough messing around. But let's not forget, safety first. Bingo! Woo! That's better. Flipping heck, I'll tell you what, that is all that's left of them two bushes. Look at them. The only problem is I've now got to find two bush sleeves from somewhere. Here's the plan. I mean, I've looked on the internet to see if somebody sells these outer bush casings, but I can't find no one. So I've got a pair of brand spanking new standard bushes. What I've decided to do, I'm going to press these into the subframe. I've tried in the vise and it's not working, but I'm going to use a jigsaw and I'm going to, with some oil, and I'm going to cut this centre bit out. And once it's out, I'm going to use a stick of dynamite, a blowtorch, I don't know, nitro Moors maybe, anything to get the rubber all out. And hopefully if I can clear all this out, this is going to be difficult, I know, because it's a new bush, but I've got to do something. So first up, I'm just going to give these a bit of a clean up with some emery cloth. Woohoo! Years ago, when we used to fit these bushes, we'd put like some thread lock around there, and you'd have to sort of like put these bushes in and let them set for like 24 hours. I'll just position that in there, and I've got a nice great big 50mm socket which is a perfect fit. Another pair of bearing races under here to support the subframe. Here we go again. There we go. That's how you press them bushes in. with a nice big 30-ton press. Oh, that's gone. God, I'm good. Look at that. Absolutely perfect fit. And the backside. Right, a little bit of oil I'm putting on this bush because hopefully it might help the blade to cut. Right then. Are you ready? There we go. It must have taken about 10-15 minutes to cut that out. It was, I'll tell you what, using a jigsaw to try and cut through rubber, it's not funny. Anyway, first up I'm going to use my little blade to cut the rubber off around the lip of this bearing shell. And when all this rubber's out of the way, then I'll work my way in there and I'll use whatever I can to try and get that rubber off. I have been seriously thinking about using my propane torch and burning this out, but I don't want to smoke out everyone in the garage, and more to the point, I don't have a proper mask with a filter. So I've got this knife. This is quite a sharp knife, and the plan is I'm going to cut the majority of this rubber out just with a knife, and then once I've done that, I'm gonna get the jigsaw in there to cut a few more bits out, and then I'm gonna get the wire wheel in there and see if I can clear it all out. Yes, I've nearly got this bit out. Come on. Let's pull this bit off. Yeah, great big flap of rubber. It's actually coming out all right. Well, that's as far as I'm going with the knife. I'm just going to try and see if this bloody brush will actually clean up the remaining bits. It's a bit smoky. Hold on a minute. This is the only time you're going to see me wearing a bloody muzzle. Wow! That's bloody amazing. Now, feck off. Frickin' winner. I'm going to put some silicone spray on this. I haven't got any proper rubber grease, but this silicone spray is bloody actually really good. If you've got a seat belt that's not retracting properly or slowly, you spray this on your seat belt webbing, flipping heck, you wouldn't believe the difference this makes. And it's good for like electric windows that are going up slowly on the window runners. Anyway, let me get back to the task in hand. Let's see if this presses in. Yeah! Holy shit! That's gone clean in. I am so impressed. Wow. That's even come through, popped through the bit that it's supposed to. I'm going to have to say it, like a glove. Yeah. I guess that was too easy. Here's where it's probably going to get difficult, where we've got to put this bloody collar in. Mind you, let's see if the silicone spray can sort this out. Oh my God! Yeah! Get in there! Friggin' yes! Woohoo! Yeah! Nice. Well, that went better than expected. This bush kit comes with some great big washers. Now these washers, they sit on the widest part of the bush, like that. The reason I'm saying that is because this PowerFlex kit comes with instructions, and it shows a little picture there. Whether you can see that or not, I don't know, but there's a picture there showing where the washer sits. So that will go there from underneath the vehicle, and the bolts already have a washer on them, which I'm guessing the original bolts, the washer will stay there anyway, like that. And then that will bolt the subframe up. So now I'm just going to pop the rest of these bushes in and get a bit of pressure on it. There. I'm going to pop this in. Yeah, you go. Bingo. Yeah, right. Just one thing here. So just make sure that this bush is actually all the way through and popped out of the subframe like that. And also, just to note, the metal collar that runs through the centre of this bush, at the moment it's flush with this side of the bush, and this side it's inside. But when you bolt the subframe up to the body, the bush is going to like compress, and that metal collar will then sit up against the body of the car, and then everything will be bolted up solid. I'm going to put the subframe back on, but I think I'll leave the anti-roll bar off. I can put that on afterwards. It's safe because it's a bit heavy, so it's going to be easier to fit this without the roll bar on it. So I'll just get this jacked up. Here goes the first subframe bolt. I've actually put some grease on the threads of these bolts. Yeah. Putting all the swinging arms back into place, but I'm not actually tightening anything up. So I'll make sure everything is actually on the threads before I actually tighten anything, because we've actually got to line this subframe up in a minute. Ooh, going to slot the old roll bar back in place. I've actually still got the bolts in here, and this anti-roll bar, it did slide past the tank and actually fit in. You see that bracket? That just slots in there like that, and then I can put the 10mm bolt in. These 10mm bolts that hold your roll bar on, I was going to clean the threads up on the wire wheel. I'm just going to stick a bit of grease on these threads, just so they don't rust up again anytime soon. Now everything under here is all the bolts that hold all the swinging arms, the subframe to the body, apart from the anti-roll bar, which I haven't got connected up yet. But the 10mm bolts that hold the roll bar to the subframe are in. But all these bolts here, they're all loose at the minute. I haven't actually tightened anything up at all. They're all on the threads, so that's good. The thing is now, you've got to line the subframe up. And you see at the rear of the subframe, there's these holes, okay? I've already put one in this side. I've got some pins. These are the same pins you use to line up the front subframes in these cars. It's like this. You can use a broom handle if you like. All it is like a pin that goes through the subframe, and it will go into the hole in the chassis like that. Okay? So there you have it. That's your subframe lined up, one either side. Now you can bolt everything up. All right, I'm just going to bolt these bushes up. And as I do that, it's going to like compress that bush and squash it. Now we're all bolted up. Don't forget to connect up your ABS wire. Well, that's it. There we go. The frame's all bolted back up nice and tight. Okay then, that's our subframe all bolted up. I will say, what an arseache. I really don't want to do another one of them in a hurry. I think I'd rather just fit standard bushes, so much easier. But yeah, anyway, I'm still waiting for the braided hoses. As soon as they arrive, I'll bolt them on, bleed the brakes, fit the handbrake cable, get the handbrake adjusted up, put the back wheels on, and that'll be the back half done. I guess at this point it's a good time to end the video. Anyway, till the next time. See ya! I've just replaced this windscreen in a 68 plate Mondeo because of this crack all across the passenger side. But I was kind of impatient to get the interior mirror off. There's like a little metal piece that's bonded to the windscreen. And I couldn't unclip the mirror, so I ended up yanking it and I pulled the mirror off the screen and left a big hole there. It's a dirty job. Someone has to do it because nobody else flings the windscreens out. 1 minute. Okay. There. See ya!